Now, to the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana price, ladies and gentlemen, are we expecting a correction in the Bitcoin price towards $60,000 in the coming days? And will the Bitcoin price turn around again after that? Or will there be a slightly larger correction towards $40,000? Let's start with the Bitcoin price. After that, we will discuss some economic data and we will also discuss new positions, and I will show you also how the altcoins will move. In the last videos, we discussed that we have a flag formation here, and as you can see, the Bitcoin price went down from this white line. Now the Bitcoin price is here at this purple line, and the question is whether it will soon head towards $60,000, maybe towards 40, or if we will see a reversal from this purple line. I will explain to you in a moment. I will explain to you exactly where the Bitcoin price will go and how and where you can set new positions. However, I want to show you how a flag pattern works in theory. And then we will also discuss how to determine price targets and how we will discuss a few more economic data points. This is a flag pattern. The price goes down, forms a flag, and then it goes down again. This is also an example of the flag pattern. This is an example of the triangle pattern. That is also important. I will explain why in a moment. These are the zones where the Bitcoin price could stop. You might remember I told you that our support zone ends around 55,000, and the next one would be in the $45,000 to $40,000 range. That will be important shortly, so take a close look at this again. Maybe you can even take a photo of it. The economic data that will move the price. Currently, we still have the problem between Iran and America. That is currently the most important topic. Plus, we have the unemployment figures on June 5th. Normally, for a positive upward movement of the Bitcoin price, unemployment would have to go up so that the Fed can lower interest rates. Then we have the inflation figures on the 10th. In June. So on these 2 days, the price will move. Plus, we have the Fed meeting at the end of June, but maybe we can discuss that in the next video. What else is important? In the last videos, I was asked which indicators I use and how to determine price targets. So you can see the indicators on the left side. We won't discuss exactly how they work now, but we will discuss in more detail where the Bitcoin price is heading and how to determine price targets. Normally, in 80% of cases, the Bitcoin price moves downward out of such a flag formation. There are exceptions actually, and in that case, the Bitcoin price would head toward $95,000. However, as you can see here, the Bitcoin price went down from this white line. So this white line is the resistance zone. This purple line is the support zone. It plays a very, very big role. You will see that. So it currently looks like the Bitcoin price is correcting. How do you determine price targets from a flag or a triangle pattern? You can see small lines here and you can see large lines here. These are the large price targets, and the small lines here at the front, those are the small price targets. So how do you determine price targets from a triangle pattern and from a flag pattern? The smallest price target is measured between the resistance zone and the support zone, and then you project that to the breakout point, either upwards or downwards. Here you can see that the Bitcoin price has reached the price targets. That is why the small lines are here like this. That would be the first price target. That would be the second price, the second small price target. So the difference between the resistance zone and the support zone, that would be the first small price target. But there are also large price targets. How do you determine large price targets? By including the entire movement. So the correction started here and the correction ended here. So this was the end of that correction. Then the flag began, and that would be the final price target, the final potential price target. That is why there are long, long lines here. These long lines tell us where the Bitcoin price could roughly stop. This works for both the flag and the triangle formation. So the highest point, you can take the highest point here. You can also take this highest point, and you take the lowest point and then project this point to the breakout point. But that only works downwards. You do not project these points upwards. Upwards, you only project the small price targets. That is why the probability of breaking out downwards from such a formation is actually much higher than upwards. We discussed in the last videos that the probability is definitely there that the Bitcoin price can still find support here. As you can see, because of the weekend, the Bitcoin price moved sideways. So we have not seen a breakout yet. I also explained this to you. I explained here, wait for the consolidation, so wait for the breakthrough of this line. And if breakout happens, you can then open a long position. However, there was no consolidation above this line. Here I told you, wait for the consolidation below this purple. Why should you wait for this consolidation? To rule out the possibility of the Bitcoin price going up here. If you opened a short position here, for example, then you don't need to worry. Even if the Bitcoin price goes back up, the first resistance zone would be at 78,300 and at 84,600 would be the second resistance zone. So those are potential reversal points to the downside. However, if the Bitcoin price consolidates here now, the probability that the Bitcoin price will continue to go down increases. Then the first small price target would be $79,000, and the second price target from this flag would actually be here in the $33,000 range. But why do 44 and 45,000 play a role now? Because the final price target from this yellow triangle formation lies here. It is right here. You can see it here. That is the final price target from this triangle formation. So these are potential reversal points. It is possible that the Bitcoin price stops here and then goes back up, or it could actually be that it reaches the final price targets. So these are roughly guidelines for you. But it can also happen that the Bitcoin price simply stops at 60,000 and then goes up. So these price targets are guidelines for you where the Bitcoin price could stop. Then you have to observe the situation and see spontaneously, okay, maybe the Bitcoin price will go lower after all. So you have to identify the support zones in parallel, and that is why these 45 to 40,000 play a role. As I said, the probability of breaking out of this formation to the downside is much higher than to the upside. If we should move upwards, watch this blue line and this white line. If there is a breakout to the downside, then the first price target would be here. The second price target would be $45,000 to $40,000, and the final price target, meaning the final potential reversal point, would be in the 33,000 range. But don't get me wrong, if the price goes lower than 33,000, that is also possible, then you have to decide spontaneously. But we will discuss that later, perhaps explain it to you in a bit more detail, otherwise the video will be too long. In the last videos we discussed that we have a flag formation here. Just now with the Bitcoin price I explained to you how a flag formation works. I have shifted this purple line a little bit. Before that we had already seen this breakout in the Ethereum price to the downside. Here it works basically the same way, so exactly the same as with the Bitcoin price. The probability that the price goes down is higher than it going up. Here you can also see that two price targets are present, both the small price targets and the large price targets. The large price targets are in the $800 range. For that, the Bitcoin price has to head towards $40,000. I can explain it to you again. These green lines are guidelines for you so you understand where the Bitcoin price could stop. So let's assume the Bitcoin price goes towards $55,000. Then the Ethereum price will stop here. These are guidelines for you so you understand where the Ethereum price stops if the Bitcoin price sees a correction. Or let's assume the Bitcoin price goes towards 45,000, then the Ethereum price stops here. As I said, these are guidelines for you so that you can understand where the Ethereum price might stop. Currently, it looks like the Ethereum price is actually seeing a downward breakout from this formation. That would mean that you should follow the price targets, but you should watch the Bitcoin price first and then the Ethereum price, because the Ethereum price depends on the Bitcoin price. We do not need to discuss the upside price targets because it looks like a breakout to the downside. Forget about those price targets for now. Focus on these smaller price targets because right now it looks like the Bitcoin price is heading lower. What is currently happening with the Solana price? In the last videos we discussed that we have a triangle formation here. You could also say that we have a flag here as well. The triangle formation and the flag formation basically work in the same direction. So usually the price breaks downward out of such a formation. The Solana price is 100% dependent on the Bitcoin price right now. The Bitcoin price went down from $82,000 and the Solana price went down with it. The price targets for Solana are $50 and approximately $27 if the Bitcoin price corrects. We will see in the coming days whether we see a breakthrough of this purple line. These green lines are guidelines for you, so you can roughly estimate where the Solana price will stop if the Bitcoin price corrects. I can zoom in on this again, take a close look at this. So let's assume the Bitcoin price heads toward $50,000 and then the Solana price will stop in the $40 range. So, as I said, these are guidelines for you in case a correction happens. I repeat what is important. The situation between Iran and America is very important right now. It is having a strong impact on the market. The inflation figures will be important. They are coming out next week, and the unemployment figures from America will be important. They are coming out at the end of the week. And then we have the Fed meeting. I thank you all. I wish you a nice evening and see you then.